This is the first video describing how you use an easy complete quilt system to build a table topper we call a windmill table topper. The first step is cutting out the pieces. We use quilter's fleece that's fusible on one side. That side feels like sandpaper and the other side is smooth. And that's how we line our fabric pieces that form our back. So we had to cut one center square lining, and then we had to cut 4 rectangle linings. The next set of fabrics that I'm going to talk about are the inserts. They're the decorative part of the Easy Complete Quilt table topper, and they're on the front of the table topper. These are cut on the bias, that's optional, but you need 4 rectangular pieces, and I cut them so that they're as identical as I can make them, all 4 of them. As far as the square, I actually had trouble finding a complementary fabric for the center square. So what I did is I bought fabric I thought coordinated, and then I embroidered it with a design. I'm going to center the design on my center square insert piece, and I'm going to cut out the fabric after I've already embroidered it. The next fabric I'm going to talk about is the actual back. The back is cut out of denim in my particular project. Denim is a fabric with a nap. That means that it has to be cut according to the nap layout. This nap layout, available in the instruction sheets on the website, shows all the arrows pointing parallel to the selvage. And these are the arrows I marked on my fabric pieces in order to keep them looking uniform. So you will notice that I have arrows drawn on my denim. Whatever's drawn, whichever direction the arrow is drawn on my denim, that's the direction my denim should face in order to look uniform. If this is the back of the quilt, and I have this piece of denim facing up, I'll have this piece of denim facing up, and I'll have the center square facing up. These were cut according to the nap yardage layout, so this piece of fabric will be positioned so the arrow's pointing up, and this piece of fabric will be positioned so the arrow points up. All the arrows are pointing in the same direction. This is the way my fabric will look uniform. If I start switching the direction, sometimes there's significant difference and it looks like you've actually changed die lots. So if you're using a nap layout, be sure and mark the direction of the arrows when you take the pieces off of the pattern. Easy Complete Quilt uses lined quilt backs. The quilt backs are lined and sewn together only along their long edges, and eventually the lining will be flipped to the right side using one of these corners. So to protect them and prevent them from stretching out, you have to stay stitch them. What I've done is I've drawn here approximately where the seam line is, or 1/4 of an inch from this edge. Stay stitching has to happen somewhere between this cut edge and the stitching line. Now, when you do it, you have to do it on both the back and the quilter's fleece, and it doesn't make any difference which corner you choose to use if the piece is square. Rectangles are a little different. Notice I've drawn a line with white chalk where the stitching line would normally be. I've used blue marker to mark it on the quilter's fleece. If I take these pieces and I match them right sides together, you will see that any stay stitching I do will only be on the quilter's fleece on this side and only be on the back on this side, and you want the stay stitching to line up. So when you stay stitch, you position your pieces right side up, and then you draw a line where you're going to stay stitch. On the quilter's fleece, ignore the blue line, that's incorrect, and instead stay stitch a mirror image with right side. So this is the quilter's fleece right side, this is the denim right side. If I stay stitch these 2 corners, when I flip them to sew them together and line them, both pieces will have stay stitching on it, and that will help maintain the integrity of the fabric when they're flipped to the right side. This is just a picture of all the stay stitched edges, and you'll notice that I accidentally stay stitched one wrong, so I don't rip out the old stay stitching. I just install a new line on the opposite side where it should be. So now that everything's stay stitched, all the pieces just on one corner each, we're going to go and join these together to start forming our quilt back.